Hey guys, welcome back to Horticulture Geek. Join me today as we talk about damage cleanup and showing you what happened after the storm. Hey there everybody, welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray, and again, thank you so much for joining me today here on the Horticulture Geek channel. So as many of you know, if you've seen my last video where I started out on a garden tour, we ended with a little bit of a disaster when we had a gigantic tree fall. This is a neighbor's tree, and it fell and hit the garden shed and tore up the corner of the garden. So that great big tree fell. If you have not seen that video, I'll link it here. It'll be linked at the end of the video as well, but please go and watch that video first, as it will make a whole lot more sense for what we're going to show you today. So today I wanted to show you the process we went through to clean up as much as we have. As you can still see, the tree is still there. The neighbors have yet to get a company in here to get that cleaned up. They're working with their insurance company to figure all of that out. We are having to work with our insurance company to figure out our damage. Here in the state of Arkansas, this is different in every state, but here in the state of Arkansas, unless a tree is proven and documented to be dead or harmful, if it falls, then it is not the homeowner's responsibility. Okay, so if it's dead, if it's a dead tree standing on your property and it falls, then it is your responsibility because you knew it was dead and you should have taken care of it. But in the situation like this, in the state of Arkansas, if you have a healthy tree that falls in a storm, the homeowner of that tree, the property owner of that tree, is not responsible. So each individual affected by that tree has to work with their insurance company to figure out the damages to their property. So that's what I'm having to do. I have already been working with my insurance company. As a matter of fact, my adjuster inspector has already been out to look at the damage. We are in the process of working with our homeowner's insurance to get the shed replaced, get the fencing replaced, and all that stuff. So I wanted to point that out because that is very different for some of you. In some states, the tree owner is the tree owner and the tree owner is responsible for everything. That is not the case here. So we are unfortunately caught in the cleanup mode of waiting on them to clean up the rest of the debris of the tree so that the backside of our property can be accessed for fence replacement. And we're waiting on our insurance company to figure out how much they're going to give us for this. And I have to wait on quotes from companies and all that fun stuff. So basically all that to say, I have cleaned up along with some help of some family members. One of our nephews came over with a chainsaw and helped us. Me and Mrs. Horticulture Geek and the kids have been out here. We had some neighbors coming and helping because, as you guys know, if you've been followers of the channel, that shed had electric in it. So I had to clear as much debris away from that shed as possible, as quickly as I could, so that I could have an electrician come in and take that shed off of my system so that when power came back onto my home, that shed was no longer a fire hazard. So I had to quickly remove a lot of damage as quick and debris as quickly as I could. So I've took some video of that and some photo clips, and we're just gonna throw all that in here and let you see kind of that process. I'll kind of put it on fast forward mode and just show you some different things of the cleanup process, and then we'll come back at the end of that and chat about it. So without further ado, let's look at how we cleaned up all that storm damage. Here we go. So you can see the wind just absolutely, that crepe myrtle right there that the fountain sits under is completely crushed. You can't even see the garden shed currently, and we hadn't even made it there to look at the beautiful planters that were on it right now. This planter got knocked over and it is cracked. So I'm gonna pick it back up in a minute and we'll see how long it survives, but that's pretty much a goner. So this is gonna be a lot of work right here to get that. All right, so you just saw some clips of this mess getting cleaned up as much as we could. And so now here we are in front of the shed. And as you can see, the shed is a complete goner. So we are gonna have to have that completely removed and then a new shed or other structure put in its place. And we'll have to see how that unfolds. The fencing is all completely gone. So I've got a big hole here that opens up to my neighbors, and then more holes that open up to the neighbors behind. So we still have quite a big mess. And as you can see, I've used broken down fence sections to create temporary fencing, temporary walls to keep our dog contained in our yard so that he doesn't get out and escape. So if you went back and watched that video, believe it or not, where I'm standing right here was the very top of that tree. That tree came all the way out here. And from that previous videos, you could see, you could not even see the shed. So between the power company, because the power company did come in and chop some of it up, they got the high stuff to get the tree out of their way to restring the lines that are right there. And so between them and then myself, my family, extended family, we got chainsaws after it, and we cut and we hauled and got massive amounts of a tree out onto the street. So it was a lot of work. So I've been taking my time working on this project. And as you can tell, there's still a lot of work to do. So the update for today is just that we've got the shed unburied. The shed is a loss. The electricity has been removed from the shed and pulled back to a junction box so that it's all capped and safe. There is no fire hazard here. So we're safe here at Horticulture Geeks. And guys, I can't tell you how much we appreciate all the love and support and comments on the video and words of encouragement that we received here. It truly did mean the world to us. Those of you who are gardeners, you know, you sink your heart and your soul into your garden, and you love it and you care for it, and you put so much time and attention and money into it that when something like this happens, your initial response is panic. And so a lot of you got that, you understood that, and I am so appreciative of the support that you've given me. But I'm keeping a positive attitude, just like I had at the end of my previous video where I showed you what happened. My plants will grow back. The garden will continue. We just have a new garden. There's a new normal for us here. That tree provided an amazing backdrop to my property and my garden, and that backdrop is gone. So it's already changed the view of the garden. Likewise, let me turn the camera a little bit. Over in my shade area, there were many more trees in that neighbor's backyard as well. And those all had to be removed. And so now my shade garden is almost not a shade garden anymore. And several of my hostas are already burning for too much sun exposure. So the structure of the garden has changed with this storm, but we're gonna adapt. And we're gonna overcome, and the garden's gonna regrow. I wanna take just a few minutes, and we'll turn the camera around and just point out a few things before we close this video. All right, so with me out of the way, you can see a little bit better. Here, let's just start right here. So this Italian cypress got hammered. This is pretty much a goner. The pot is destroyed. I haven't even got to that yet. Back here you can see my raised bed with my potatoes and some of my onions got destroyed. I can still get back in there and harvest potatoes. They're just hanging out under the soil waiting. Onions I can get back there and harvest, but there's just still a lot of cleanup that needs to happen here. And unfortunately, like I said, we're waiting at this point for the tree owner to get all that cleaned up and out of the way so that we can truly get to the corner of our property and start rebuilding here. I did save some of the logs, and this is not firewood. This will be for a future garden project. So that's a little teaser for you guys. So if you have not subscribed to Horticulture Geek yet, hit that subscription and hit that notification bell so that you can find out what we're gonna do with this wood here in the garden. And then you saw this from a second ago, but you can see straight through the back of the shed. So if we get back in here, you can see there's still a lot of mess to clean up there. That fencing up there was damaged as well, obviously. A lot of stuff through here has got to be cleaned up. The fountain, it did survive. I was able to remove it. It's actually sitting disassembled right over there, waiting for an opportunity to come home. The bird bath is setting right there. It normally sets right here. So again, it's fine. It made it through the storm, and I was able to pull it out of the way during cleanup to make sure it didn't get any more damaged. But the garden is already starting to bounce back, guys, as you can see. I've got the irrigation system back up and running. I did have to turn it off for a few days because this whole section back here was just shredded, and there was no pressure on the rest of the system because all the water was just flowing out. So if you'll notice right here, what I did is I came in and I cut the line here and put in a T-clamp so that I could then run a temporary line in front of the shed to feed those pots and continue on the loop down that side of the garden. And then I put a line here, and it just caps off right there at the end of the wall to keep my blackberries and blueberries watered, okay? Because those were always watered with the line that used to go through here that then took off to feed all this section. So this section through here of all the irrigation has been completely abandoned for the time being. And so that was another job that had to be done. So once we got all the debris removed through here and I was able to get in here, then I was able to basically cut out the bad section and replumb the new section so that the irrigation system could come back on. So that is super handy. So, but we've got some beautiful things still in the garden. So not all is lost, guys. Everything is starting to come back. All right, guys, so we're gonna wrap this video up here today. Again, I just wanna thank you guys for all the support and love that you have sent us through comments and messages. We certainly do appreciate it. And if you, like I said, have not subscribed to the channel yet and you wanna keep track of our progress, then by all means, please hit that subscription, hit that notification bell. It'll tell you every time I post a new video. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave those right down below. I do my very best to respond to them, or at least like them, all that kind of stuff. If it's a question, I'll try my very best to respond to it. And I'm just so glad that you guys are joining me on this journey. And I hope that this has inspired you, that even when bad things happen to the garden, just remember the garden will regrow. If you're a gardener and you're willing to put in the work, then the work will go into the garden and the garden will regrow. It will flourish. So I'm already seeing lots of plants rebounding. Like I said, I'm seeing plants changing because of their new, the new light conditions that they're dealing with. But we're gonna work through all of that. The garden already has lots of beautiful things bouncing back through it. So I'm pleased, even though we still have a lot of mess here to deal with, and it will take quite a while to deal with this, and we will document it as it goes along. So as the new shed gets built, as the new fences get built, I will bring the camera out as much as construction crews are comfortable with that, and we'll document it and we'll show you what's going on. And that's all we can do at this point. All right, guys, I'm gonna quit my rambling right here for today. Thank you so much for joining on the journey with me. And as always, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.